you call an orphan that still has a dad? My name is Matthew Kroll.
And you know, I'm really starting to hate that kid. My name is Shahir Dowd.
And this is the only podcast about movies, specifically the film Sketch.
Yeah, it's so funny because I'm going to say sketch a lot during this episode. Did it sound strange when I just said it there?
No, you said the word sketch. You said the name of the
It's
movie.
every time I try to say it to someone on the street, on the street,
On the street?
on the street, yeah, I'll be like, "Hey, have you seen this movie Sketch?" They're like, "Sketch? What are you saying?" And nobody understands what I'm saying because of my accent. They think I'm saying sketch.
Say it again?
Sketch.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I
Yeah.
talk to you a lot, but I
Yeah.
still hear the movie title. I
You
don't
hear
know
the
what
word- Well, of course you should at this point because I've been talking about it for a little bit this year.
Yeah.
We are doing probably one of the most criminally underrated, underseen movies this year.
Oh, you just almost let it slip. He almost did it.
Which is Seth Worley's film Sketch.
Not to be confused with Skechers.
Yeah.
Those are the S.
Well, those are the shoes. And one that I was excited to get you to watch. We had a choice of a couple of movies, and this is the one you picked out, which I'm glad because I have been wanting for us to talk about this movie for a little bit. We do have a couple of emails, but we'll come back to those shortly. A lot of them are referencing rewatching Wake Up Dead Man, for example, or talking about other things. Which I have not done yet, but I if an email comes in at onlymoviepodcast@gmail.com, I will email you back.
I have rewatched Wake Up Dead Man.
Oh,
Jamie
yeah?
and I watched it.
Yeah.
And it's better the second time. I loved it the first time. I know you didn't as much as me. I ate it. Nom, 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 nom. Everything connects even more. It's lovely.
I want to make this point clear because I think with Wake Up Dead Man and Avatar, I was kind of like negative on those movies, but
I
they're
was
not
kind of negative on Avatar,
but they're
too.
not bad movies.
No.
They're not. Neither of them are bad movies by any stretch of the imagination.
One is incredibly, I think, genius, and the other one is Avatar. But again, if we're going off box office, then I'm wrong.
It just crossed $1 billion,
I
which
know.
inevitably suggests that it will have a sequel. But of course, it's also one of the most highly publicized films of the year with an enormous marketing budget because to match its enormous production budget as well.
And look, if I'm going to get or have to have in theaters a essentially milquetoast story with incredible VFX, I want James Cameron to be doing it.
Man, you sound like me talking about Marvel movies for the first 6 years of this podcast.
I don't know. I didn't dislike the new Avatar movie. I just think there was a lot of opportunity to do something new in it that it didn't take. So I don't know. Maybe, hey, the box office ain't wrong. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, keep using whales.
I'm sure. This is I have not watched these this week, but I'm sure you probably have. They are dropping Avengers trailers left, right, and center.
Yeah,
Did you watch these?
Yes, they're fine.
Mhm.
Here's how I know I'm kind of really off the train.
Right.
These are the kind of things that I would have lost my absolute mind and had a real big emotional connection to. And here I'm like, neat. Oh, Thor's not a joke anymore. That's fun. What was the other one? Cap in front of the Avatar thing. I was like, did I talk about this in the podcast about the Cap thing?
No.
So Cap spoilers for this trailer. If you don't mind, Shahir, I'm sure you don't.
I'm aware that Captain America. They're doing individual trailers. They've done a Captain America.
He drives up to the house that he and Peggy have at the end of Endgame, and then he's.
You know what? I gotta admit, I actually have seen this, but not in the way that you're thinking.
Okay, and then he changes the shot, and he's holding a baby, and then it's like Captain America will return, Avengers Doomsday. And look, if you're when I saw it, I just went, okay.
Captain America.
Because this is again, I think Endgame, even from a narrative perspective on spectacle cinema, is one of the greatest accomplishments of this sort of genre of making something have stakes, making characters that are $1 billion characters actually have endings.
Yeah,
is something that you just don't see, and now it feels like bringing back Captain America is the ripcord. Like the Robert Downey Jr. stunt casting for Dr. Doom, air quotes maybe, is one thing because you're not bringing back Iron Man.
Right.
But to bring back Cap after a beautiful wrap up of his story, I basically was like, okay, you know what? You're taking your last shot with me. Maybe they'll land it. Maybe it'll be phenomenal. Maybe we'll get the reasons why just putting the stones back or Steve living his life really fucks up everything, and that's why Dr. Doom comes. I don't know. We could ask Nando from Nando V Movies. He has 90 different theories about this.
Yeah.
Watch his Nando Cut stuff if you want to get deeper dives into these trailer sort of breakdowns. So I'm not turned off by them, but the Cap one specifically, I was like, sure, you've just announced you have no new ideas, and now you're going to take your last shot with this concept of bringing this character back. On the flip side, the third one, which is on the X-Men, the Fox X-Men. Look, I'd love to see Cyclops get his due, and it seems like he might. So that's neat.
Right. And is it James Marsden playing Cyclops?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
And there's a classic shot in it of like the visor off and him like kneeling and looking up, and like that's just such a classic Marvel comic shot.
Yeah.
And he's in the like suit.
Okay.
So not the black spandex suit, like the actual Cyclops suit. So I don't know, like that's exciting because that felt like something like slightly new, like something old that is new. Cap.
Does it feel like Deadpool versus Wolverine?
No.
Really?
No, these are to their own detriment, perhaps, or maybe I'm just not the target audience anymore. Incredibly self-serious. Like these are not jokes. These are like supposed to be dramatic. And if you are still engrossed in this, like I used to be, I could see them coming off as dramatic.
Yeah.
I just, I'm curious what the fourth one. Oh, the fourth one just happened, but they haven't released it. Apparently it's like Black Panther meeting Ben Grimm. Meeting the Thing.
Oh, okay. Who's playing?
Black Shuri.
Okay. I get it. Okay.
So yeah, we'll see.
So the way I saw that the Captain America trailer, someone remixed it with the voiceover from a pharmaceutical commercial. Like
amazing.
it was, and it was like, and I watched it, and it was one that my son happens to be able to quote. And so we watched that together, and it was like, side effects for Skyrizi may include, diarrhea, vomiting, all this sort of stuff. And it was just
Skyrizi. That is a real drug.
It is a real drug. And then they just did it with a shot of Captain America standing there looking at his baby.
Amazing.
And I was like, yeah, this chicks.
The Thor one is interesting too, because it's basically, it feels like it is like erasing the Taika Waititi off of the character.
Oh, wow.
It's becoming like,
yeah,
it talks about like he's talking to his father and he wants him to be saved to be like a good father, and it's like overly dramatic.
Okay.
There's no like it is Thor.
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah. And look, I will watch Doomsday. I will watch Spider-Man, and I pray they get me back on board to be psyched
Have
for
they
it.
released the Spider-Man trailer?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, one trailer I actually did watch, which is how I got served this movie. I want to actually talk about a couple of fun details. One is that follow me on Letterboxd, by the way. My name is Shahir D on Letterboxd. This week I received my Letterboxd year in review.
Oh, nice.
And surprisingly, as it turned out, the most watched actor of my Letterboxd year in review was, can you take any guesses?
Most watched actor.
Yeah. It was
Pedro Pascal?
No. Oh, that's a great choice, actually, because I would have seen a bunch of Pedro Pascal movies. I must not have logged Fantastic Four for some reason, or Eddington. Although I did. I'm pretty sure I did. But it was The Rock. And I was like, what?
What?
And it was because I had seen The Smashing Machine and Zootopia 2. Because it wins.
Wait, you haven't seen, hold on. You haven't seen a different actor across multiple movies this year other than two, and that's The Rock?
It's The Rock. Apparently, according to my Letterboxd year in review, it was The Rock. And I was like, well, this is wild. And in Zootopia, just for anyone who hasn't seen it, Zootopia 2, The Rock has one line in it as a voiceover character, as like some side character or something like that.
I feel like Jesse Buckley alone would be, or
no, I think Pedro
Kirsten Dunst's husband.
Pedro Pascal is a great one because I did see The Materialist, I did see Eddington, and I did see Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's more than The Rock.
That's more than The Rock
So
right
I
away.
win.
I don't know why Letterboxd has done that, but anyway.
Maybe Letterboxd has Pedro Pascal. They're over it. They're
done with Pedro Pascal. The movie I've seen the most times this year is Seth Worley's film Sketch, which I've seen 3 times thus far and would happily watch a 4th time.
You're talking about 2025.
2025.
Okay, not because you said this year. So I was like, did you watch Sketch 3 times as of the date of this recording, the 7th?
Remember, I do. My year starts in March 31st.
You're not even talking about the calendar year. You're talking about our review year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a New Zealand tax year is actually what it is as well. But I was served up, and I want to tell you how I got here is that because I knew nothing about this movie. I kind of vaguely knew who Seth Worley was because he's in the sort of VFX and chill community. He's got a podcast and a YouTube channel with another creator who goes by the name of VFX Dad, who makes these great, cool VFX little compilations, and they're incredible.
I've seen those.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And so he's part of that community. I'm a VFX person as well, so I kind of grew up I guess, around the same group of people in terms of like, we all watched Andrew Kramer. We all watched.
Man.
Yeah. Aaron Rabinowitz, all these people.
Andrew Kramer. Where's Andrew Kramer?
I mean, I think as I understand, Andrew Kramer has like 5 kids. And so it does, he's probably got his software company still, which sells.
Yeah, but
all
he
that.
doesn't just,
He doesn't make tutorials anymore, but he did get scooped up in J.J. Abrams' world. So, the lens flare thing is kind of him.
Amazing.
He makes an amazing lens flare plugin, by the way. Optical flares, still great. Still use it.
I still use Action Essentials.
I have the
discs, but I have them on drive. I have the 2K and the 4K.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So Sith Worley, I believe, kind of comes out of that sort of group of people, like, home VFX people who eventually work their way into film and television. So I kind of vaguely knew who he was. But I got served ads for Sketch on Instagram. And literally I was like, I don't really like watching trailers, but I really don't know anything about this.
Sure.
And then I was like, okay, what is this? So I checked out an ad and I was like, you know what? I think me and my son would enjoy this. This actually looks kind of cool. And part of me was like, I think I just want to take a risk on a movie that I know nothing about.
Sure.
I've seen no marketing for, but for some reason I have been served this ad. And so there was a day during the school holidays, I believe it was, where literally at 4:30 in the afternoon, I was like, you know what? I think I want to check out this movie Sketch. Where can I go see it? And there was one movie theater playing it because every other movie theater was playing it at like 9:30 p.m. or 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, I can't take my kid to one of those. And so there was a theater up in the Bronx that was playing it at 7:30. And I was like, guys, let's do this. Let's take a chance on this. And I actually had to buy the movie tickets via the production company's site, not via the movie theater site.
Interesting.
And the production company is a company called Angel Distributors.
I want to talk about them when we
Yeah, because we'll get to the Angel Distributors thing as well, because there was a part of me, I kind of looked up who Angel was and what their most famous project was, which was the Jim Caviezel film, The Sound of Freedom, I think it was. And I did read that they are a kind of a faith-based distributor, making films that are kind of in that zone. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm walking into here, but I'm gonna, let's do it. We can do it. We have the means to go.
You have the technology.
We have the means. We have the technology. So let's go do it. And I got to tell you, I went up there. We went up to the Bronx, and we were in a theater probably with just one row filled with kids. And that's it. That's the entire theater was pre-seat ticketed. And it was just one row filled with kids and a handful of parents. And it was awesome. Like, kids were so into this movie, I had a little bit of a hard time convincing my son to see it because he doesn't know anything about it. But I was like, let's just try it. And he's normally pretty cynical. I got to admit, he's my son. He was the Avatar looks like a video game kind of kid.
He's also not wrong.
Yeah. And then I saw the kind of the light like enter his face. Sure. And like in terms of like, he just lit up as the more and more this movie went along. And then we had another evening where Nicholas Lowe, who's been on the podcast, they were coming over to hang out with us. And Nick and I were like, what movie can we play the kids? And I was like, let's try this. And then it was like, awesome, fantastic. We watched it with a bunch of kids at our house who absolutely loved it as well. And then I, when you suggested it for this podcast, I was like, yes, absolutely. And I watched it again last night as well. So this is the movie I've actually seen the most times this year. And I've been excited to get you to watch it because, again, it's not a movie that's got a huge marketing budget. It's a movie that cost $3 million to make. I think it's made in kind of $10 million. It is marketed.
So it's a success.
Yeah, it is a success. It is marketed from a production company that, I ordinarily wouldn't gravitate towards that particular kind of material, but it isn't really playing up the faith side of it very much or the Christianity side of it very much.
I wouldn't say much at all.
There's one conversation in the film that kind of makes me go, this feels like it might have been added in to fulfill some obligations for.
Which, we'll talk about it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, because when the thing, I did not look it up yet, but normally I have a quote stock. We're watching, I'll just type in quotes. But the first thing I had that is a thing that comes up in the beginning of this. It says approved by the Angels Guild 1,000,000 strong or something like that. And I was like, what?
Yeah. And I could understandably you just be going, what has Shahir gotten me into?
I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, no. At this point, I like you've talked this one up a lot, and
Yeah.
so I was like, well, there's no way this is going to be bad.
Imagine if I just walked you into like a really like
it's starring Zachary Levi, and it's all like
Yeah.
hyper Christian, and I'm like, what is
Yeah,
this
it-
happening
Matt,
right
this
now?
is my favorite movie of the year.
Oh man, Chris Pratt is not afraid to say that he loves Jesus, the most popular religious figure on the planet. No fear there.
Before we get into what you thought of the movie, could you tell us what Sketch is about and why I'm so excited about
I
it?
sure can. Well, I can tell you what the Internet Movie Database says Sketch is about, and that is when a young girl's sketchbook falls into a strange pond, her drawings come to life. Chaotic, real, and on the loose. As the town descends into chaos, her family must reunite and stop the monsters they never meant to unleash.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, it's great. I got served a trailer for this film and I ate it up.
Yeah, the reason I stumbled a little bit is there's a weird non-space with a dash because they say her drawings come to life, but it says life dash chaotic with no spaces. Then it's supposed to be like come to life, chaotic, real, and on the loose. Like it's supposed to have a pause, but it doesn't. So fix your shit, Internet Movie Database.
What'd you think of the movie?
That sucked. No, I'm kidding. It was great. It was really very fun. It was a breezy hour and a half.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for both Tony Hale and Darcy
Carden?
Carden,
yeah.
because she played oh god, I'm blanking on her character on Good Place.
It's just, so there's
No, I know that in the movie. I'm talking about she was
in the Good
Janet.
Place.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
She is one of the funniest people, I think, one of the funniest actors that I know of, and I was absolutely I love that she was in this. I wish she was in a little more. She's not the huge character. That's okay. And also, it was really nice to see Tony Hale not playing like a schmuck or a goober. Like he was like a super believable just guy who was depressed as all hell and like rightfully so.
I call this is a Steven Soderbergh face. He does a bunch of films with Steven Soderbergh, like The Informant, I think he was in as well, where he doesn't play, he wasn't Job on Arrested Development. He was what was his character's name on Arrested Development? He's all left. He's all right now.
This isn't the only podcast about TV.
Yeah. But so you enjoyed the movie?
I did. And also I'll say the thing I liked, I think the most about it was the writing for the kids.
Yeah.
I think the way like it was I won't say like, oh man, this feels like how kids really talk, because it doesn't, but it also it is a perfect sort of cinematic analogy about how, like that feels true to the way that kids talk while not actually being the way kids talk. Like it feels like an elevated, like an adult wrote this, but it still didn't feel like I was being taken out of those characters. Like it was a really nice balancing act of dialogue because like every time the kids were alone on screen, I was having way more fun.
Yeah.
Because it's just whip smart and clever and not saccharine. It's like, it felt real and fun and funny and important.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really liked that. Structurally, the movie, it's funny. It doesn't, and we'll get into it a little bit. Like it doesn't take time to like explain why anything's happening. It doesn't really need to. But there is a sort of convenience to that, which means the second that I realized, I'm like, oh, they're not going to explain what this fucking pond is. I was like, oh, okay. So like, I kind of like at that moment, I was like, I figured this out and I'm enjoying myself and it's fine. But like, it didn't, this movie fell into oh man, I love this a lot. It also is something that it's funny. And maybe this might be where we disagree. It's something that I actually, once I finished it, I was like, I'm going to have a hard time thinking of shit to say about this movie because it is incredibly enjoyable. The effects for the budget are so fun and amazing. The writing is really, really great and smart, and it has actors in it doing things that I don't normally see them do that I like. It has everything I want.
Yeah.
I do think, and I will say this, and this is not an insult in any way. It is a simple movie. And I enjoyed that, but I was thinking about having this podcast. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to sort of like deep dive into here.
Okay.
So that was sort of my take on it. I'm trying to think if there was one other thing. Oh, the art direction for the actual the Little Girl's Notebook is so fucking fun, and the pacing of the way that they sort of like finally reveal the things that have been hidden and threaded, not even hidden, just like, oh, these are eiders. Oh, this cat vomits blood and then eats your blood. And like, you know, all of these different things, you eventually like sort of see them in the world, even if it's just in cameos. Like I think the cat with the blood is just on a TV like news report.
Oh, the cat with the blood, but there's the
cover cat with the tentacles, of course.
Yeah.
But me and Jamie, when we were watching it, we're like, where's the cat that vomits the blood and that eats their blood? I was like, that was the one I wanted to see. And I was so glad that we even just got a glimpse of it. Like it was vomiting blood in like a mailbox or something.
Right.
The eiders are, I'm a sucker for a pun like that. And they're so fun that like, in the drawing, all they do is steal your shit.
Yeah. And
so like they steal his coffee cup and his phone. And then instantly in the movie, this is very smart writing. I feel like his coffee cup and his phone are gone and they're hidden in the closet. And then by the end, I mean, we'll sort of talk about pacing a little bit. I feel like by the end, I actually had some production questions about this because by the end, it felt like they were sort of padding for time. Because there's some conversations that happen in the woods and some structural things around when they're in the woods at the end of the movie that don't match the like super tight pacing and flow of the rest of the film. And I was like, you know, I know this was sort of a micro budget movie, and I know that you know, they could only do so much because it's also a very visual effects heavy movie. And I was like, I wonder if if they didn't have shots or scenes to fill the gaps that might have been written in the script as like some high effect work stuff where shit, well, they can't include that. They're going to cut around it. Maybe now they have to, oh shit, now we're like an hour 26. We need more dialogue. And so it's like kids talking in the woods. Like, again, it's not bad. It's just, I clocked like the last third of this movie was where I was like, this feels like the wheels never come off, but it felt like the wheels were shaking. Anyway, that's all to say, I had a blast watching this movie. I'd watch this movie again. I'm very glad that we're discussing it now.
Yeah. So I think where I come from in this movie is that first off, it's first feature film director. He has directed a short film version of this as well, which I watched, and it's superb. And by the way, if you check out his YouTube channel, he does have a bunch of shorts that he's made with his daughter. Where his daughter comes up with these stories and he kind of creates these like sort of, you know, like really charming visual effects to tell those stories with like massive battles and that sort of thing. And it's really great. So he's really fun and inventive. I guess maybe from a couple of points of view is that what this to me hearkened to is early Spielberg. In so much as that it is a kids movie. It is a genuinely scary kids movie. I've watched this with kids on two different occasions.
Scary for kids.
Yeah, scary for kids. It is a genuinely, you know, there are moments in this where my son came in and watched this again with me while I was watching it the other night, and he jumped all over again. And he was like, the eiders really do creep me out. And
bugs are small bugs.
And there's a moment in this where, you know, the kind of the boss battle or the boss creature of this movie, she is genuinely terrifying to watch. And I think the direction on how they pull that off, given the budget, is quite extraordinary and really works. Like they do a mix of practical effects. It is like a physical performer inside like a, you know.
She steals clothes from the 7-Eleven or whatever.
But then they reveal her in really, really smart ways and reveal what her power set is in really, really smart ways. And then, you know, there's a moment where they use, like, for example, a fire fire blast. What am I thinking of? But where they
an aerosol cannon, a lighter.
Yeah, and like, and you know, she starts melting
because she's made of crayon.
Yeah, and it's like, and I was, and like for a kid, that is actually genuinely like quite a horrifying image.
I really liked that they like the eiders were drawn in chalk. There's a plot reason why the eiders draw in chalk. So when you hit them or you break them, they kind of poof.
Yeah, they poof away like
powder. The butterfly that hits the window is in marker, and so it's leaving like marker splotches on the thing. It's very smart.
I think all of this stuff is done really well. But I also like the thing that I was sort of most weary of on every viewing of this is the kind of, it's the dead mother trope, like it is like the trauma that this family is going through because the mother has died and therefore this family has to kind of live through it. But it's all handled really, really well.
And it does something really lovely, which is the little girl essentially is drawing like her pain and her trauma, right? And the way that
she's expressing her trauma through these characters.
Yeah. And the way that a movie like this often does that is like she learns to heal herself because she figures out about her mom and like whatever the whole thing is. Here, what I really like is Tony Hale and the son, the brother character. It's like, no. We ignored this and tried to move past it. You, daughter who's drawing, are the only person like actually processing this. You're the correct one, and we are not processing our grief well. That's something you don't see a lot.
It's got a sincere heart to it, and it actually really, it takes, what was admittedly like, it's a common idea, every Christopher Nolan movie, but I think it actually dealt with it really, really sincerely. And navigates it really well, and not least of which, like the thing that you mentioned, I really just want to point out the triptych of kids, Bianca Bell, Q Lawrence, and Calen Cox, Amber, Jack, and Bowman, respectively, are superb in this movie. And then almost every kid in this film is superb, and every performance in this is superb. And it kind of got me going, you know what? This is a director that actually really writes well for kids and directs them really, really well. And so that's what kind of like for me, again, the enthusiasm I feel about this movie harkens back to the enthusiasm I felt for Rian Johnson when I saw his first movie, Brick. It was a very specific thing. And I think it also, when we talked about Josh Rubin on this show, when we did Werewolves Within, I was like, this is a really, really hard thing to do very, very well. And this person is making it look like it's easy.
Yeah.
And that's a really extraordinary thing, especially on all the constraints that this movie would have had as a budgetary thing, or just, the first time filmmaker kind of thing as well. All of the stuff that he's doing is stuff that other films have gotten terribly wrong and are the things that put you off. And for me, this movie does not hit a wrong note throughout its entirety. So there's one side of that, which is that I think narratively and writing wise and performance wise, it's completely on point. Second thing is, from a visual effects point of view, I couldn't be more delighted with the way this film actually deploys its visual effects.
Yeah.
It harkens to Jurassic Park in many ways, which is that there is a set number of visual effects that they can do, and they do the best thing that visual effects artists can do is that they contextualize all the visual effects that they have with reaction shots, with the appropriate amount of revealing information when we need to reveal information, hiding it when we need to hide it. So all of that stuff is really, really well handled. Like the actual like. The character of Dave, the big giant,
the sleeping Dave, but then he wakes up,
and like learning the parameters of how Dave works and what Dave is doing is all deployed really smartly through writing and reaction shots.
And there's also like in those reaction shots, I remember specifically, there's many times before Dave shows up where you kind of start seeing glitter in the air.
Exactly.
And so it makes it feel like it's more actually in the space that these characters are.
Same with the sequence of I think the sequence with the Eiders is amongst the best I've seen this year. Like the actual battle sequence with the
in the house
is fantastic. And so again, putting those things in context, I didn't see Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
That's the second.
What's the Jurassic World movie?
Rebirth.
But you saw that this year, right? And I would probably venture to guess, having not seen it, that this is a better visual effects film than that is.
It's a more interesting one, that's for sure. I think. Okay.
And I want to put it in this context because I work in visual effects as well.
Yeah.
Is that visual effects aren't necessarily about the rendering power of like what you can actually put up on screen. It's how well they're deployed in a story sense. And
okay, so case in point, and this is an interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
The visual effects in Jurassic World Rebirth are really good.
Sure.
But there's a scene when they're all in the field and they're walking through, and then all of the sudden, they are shocked when these giant Brachiosaurus-esque type dinosaurs with crazy long tails that don't even make any fucking sense just peek their heads out over. It's not even a hillside. It's like over a slight rise in the earth. And I'm like, wait, how could you not hear? How could you not see? Like the characters, like you would not be surprised by that.
And Gareth Edwards is an excellent director of visual effects.
Yeah,
he really is.
But there were so many moments in the visual storytelling or just what the characters are experiencing in that movie where I was like, well, what you're showing me and where these characters are and what is happening to them doesn't make full in-world sense until they're being chased.
Right.
And so here it was nice to see that there's care in not just the big show of whatever the monster is doing. There's how is the monster and how has the monster interacted with the world and the scene and maybe a character beforehand, and it starts setting you up to accept that the character, the CG character is actually real and affecting this world that you're in. And it all comes together too because of I think, to be perfectly honest, the excellent pacing and the wonderful writing. It feels like
and that's where I come to with like this idea of like visual effects. We often talk about visual effects, you know, just in terms of sheer rendering power or sheer numbers of shots. And, you know, we can destroy cities at a whim, you know, like even slow budget filmmakers can do that now. But this film, I guess the sort of excited point I want to make is there's not a moment, not a breath in this movie where I go, they have stretched beyond their reach. You know what I mean? Like they have to me, deployed every tool that they have in the perfect way possible where I watch it and go, I don't know if this movie gets improved by another $30 million, you know, which is like in the budget.
I don't think it does. I think it gets poisoned.
Yeah. Or whatever it is. But that's the sort of area I kind of want to get to why I'm excited about this movie. The second thing is, as a movie about invention and creation and kids' imagination, it is 1,000 times better than the other movie that we saw that was like this year, the Minecraft movie. It is 1,000 times the movie that movie is. You know, like it is without a doubt.
I think we posited before that though creativity is in the plot for Minecraft, that's not the version of Minecraft that they're going for. Again, Minecraft is a million different things to a million different people.
Yeah.
If we're talking about pure childhood creativity, even like Minecraft does lip service toward that, but it doesn't do it. But I also don't think that's what it was trying to do. I think it wanted to sort of like be a 4-quadrant, like it wanted to try to touch everything.
It's a miss of a movie that I don't even know what it's trying to do, to be honest with you. Like,
I think it's trying to make money. And I think it did it.
But do you remember or care about what happened in Minecraft?
No, but it's funny. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I remember what happens in Sketch.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
And in the moment I was like, oh yeah, I care what happens to these characters. But again, I want to make it very, and I haven't thought about this in Minecraft either, but like there is something about this movie where I'm like, and I'm done.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't cheapen it at all. But I'm not. This movie is. I think this. When you said something, it doesn't overextend its reach. What did you say? And it's so right. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said.
And I think that actually, and this again, I hope this doesn't come up.
It doesn't feel. No, sorry. Maybe to quote clarify that. It doesn't feel like it tries to go beyond what its reach is.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think they have perfectly encapsulated everything they wanted to do with this movie.
And I think that that is I think a great compliment. It does work sort of on another side, which I don't think is a detriment. I know it might sound like it is that also that does mean that it is sort of an encapsulated the experience you get in it is the experience you get in it. Like I'm not thinking about, like, it's funny. They don't answer what the pond is. Again, they don't really care. That's not the point.
What the pond is.
But like the family sort of heals and then it's done. I'm not going to think about the Wyatt family again. Like I'll think maybe about the Neat Monster or something like that every once in a while, perhaps. But like, whereas Hamnet. Right. Like I've thought about that family and those characters and the emotional resonance of what's going on in that film. Both films feel very true. One is one that like emotionally stuck with me. And the other one is an exquisite time I had that up till this talking about this movie, I haven't really thought about again. From the story perspective.
I wouldn't put Sketch and Hamnet next to each other as much as I would put Sketch and Minecraft next to each other for obvious reasons.
They're both they both got these Hamnet and Sketch got 3 kids.
Sure. I think to me the thing about it is this to me is a classic example of a young filmmaker with a lot of capability here that is fully realized on screen in a way that gets me very, very excited about this filmmaker. The other person I think I felt this way about when we did Ouija 2 Origins of Evil was Mike Flanagan. You know, like where you watch that first thing and you go, this is someone to watch out for.
Sure.
And I watched this with like a kind of sense of discovery to it, you know, like and I think to me the notes about like this is like there's a huge visual effects gag in this movie that, you know, a series of gags is sort of visual effects idea in this at the center of this movie, which is not one I've quite seen done before and is executed beautifully. It is really like to the point famously, I think I was in this room when I saw it, but Disney released a trailer. Oh, Disney released a commercial towards the end of this year.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, which was directed by Taika Waititi, which uses almost the same mechanic as this. And I don't know whether they saw a sketch and thought we'll try that or whatever. It eerily looks exactly the same. And you know, like to me, that is the greatest form of flattery to this movie, which is that if it was taken from it, it is taken from it because it's executed so beautifully.
Well, it's flattery, but it also, okay, if Disney's doing it now, then how many people are going to think that like that was their whole creative
flow? I'm
sure,
but Sketch came out early in the year. In fact, it was finished in 2024. It didn't get distributed.
Right, but you and I both know that like the reality of the situation oftentimes doesn't matter when the perception of something is.
Sure,
you know?
but
that's why I just go away from the flattery thing, right? Like it's kind of
okay, but you do you appreciate the idea that I'm saying here, which is that at the center of this movie is a really complicated visual effects idea. And this movie executes that complicated visual effects idea, not only beautifully in terms of like actually rendering it out well, but deploying it on a story level really, really smartly. Like when Dave finally appears, it is a genuinely, I don't think it's like in the collective unconscious the way that the first time you see the Brontosaurus in Jurassic Park is. But there's a moment, there's a sort of quality to it where I watched it and I was like, this is doing that kind of thing so well, which is like, I am genuinely astounded when I see that creature for the first time. I'm genuinely in awe of what this movie has managed to capture. And I'm not thinking about the rendering quality or the time that it took. I'm genuinely thinking about, man, that is such a cool thing that they've put up on screen.
Yeah.
And it is a cool realization. And the movie has taught me throughout the entirety of it, how to get to this moment through the way that she is like talking about her stories, through the way that, you know, like Tony Hale's character comes back and they recreate Dave and he's like, no, actually we're going to add some snakes for arms here because that's what, you know.
If he doesn't crush you, they have to eat you.
Yeah. So you're learning about what this character is before you even get to the character, much in the same way that like when you get to the Brontosaurus in Jurassic Park, you've had all this time to learn about like, you know, how DNA stuff works, you know, the DNA in amber kind of thing works. It is, to me, on that level. Like, it's obviously not a $120 million movie or whatever Jurassic Park is, but why I'm excited for people to see this movie and why I got excited about it is that it touches that quality to me.
I'm kind of...
And in a year when Jurassic Park kind of did another movie and Minecraft couldn't do these things, like, this is a movie that does those things.
Well, it's funny. I want to sort of pivot slightly from couldn't do those things to didn't want to do those things.
And why would you not want to?
I know. That's my point.
Yeah.
It is an active choice that a lot of these blockbusters sort of in these spaces are choosing to not do it, and it's annoying. Side note, I do wish that every one of the monsters kind of smelled like coffee. Because coffee gets spilled in the notebook and he dries it. I was really hoping for a gag where like that's how they started to identify. Like I was just trying to, because they're very clever with like the rules of, well, kind of the rules. Like first, the pond is a thing that like fixes stuff because he's in the woods and trips and his phone breaks, but then it goes in the pond and it's fine. And then the plate, they brings it back.
His hand also gets a scar on it, which is
fine.
Yeah.
But then it starts bringing drawings to life, and I'm like, what?
Sure.
Okay, I guess. It's funny. I was interested in the mystery box of it, but after the monsters came alive, I was like, I don't know if you need that, like, because it's a different power set that the pond is doing. And I thought that power set of, and I know it also ties with the mother in the ashes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to come back more in a structural way, not a emotional and or pseudo-religious way.
And to me, that's the way it actually operated. Like, there's not again, I've watched this movie 3 times now. Not once in 3 viewings have I gone, I really wish I understood what was happening with the pond. Never once.
I don't need to know why.
Yeah.
I just want the rules to be a little bit consistent. And it feels like the pond does 2 very different things.
I've never.
Listen, I've liked shittier MacGuffins.
Yeah,
you know,
I've never once watched this and wondered what's going on with the pond. I also, again, just coming back to the writing of the performance of the triptych of kids, when those kids are, like you said, it's the more fun that you've had when those 3 kids are together. And like, I think Bianca Bell and Q Lawrence are magnificent as the Wyatt kids. Like their characterization is really on point in terms of, like, he is the older brother who is like taking control of the situation. She is the younger one who is actually at the center of why this is happening. But the movie kind of really comes towards an incredibly heartfelt moment. Again, as you mentioned, as the 2 men in the family decide, as Tony Hale's character says, that, we have been doing the wrong thing here. And you've been carrying the weight of your mother's death, and I haven't been talking about it. And that's actually been the wrong way to go. That moment actually really kills me when I see what happens, with that. When Q Lawrence, the character, Jack Wyatt, turns around and he has his mother's ashes, and he finally, like, for the entirety of the movie, he has been playing like a grown-up. And then in this moment, he's like, I'm sorry. And he's like a little kid again. And I was just like, this is such great writing. But my point, I think those 2 characters work so well together in that. But Bowman, the Bowman character, played by Kalen Cox, stole the show for me.
Really?
Every time he was on screen.
I thought he was the weakest.
Oh my God.
They're all great, but I thought he was.
You had to be in the room in both screenings.
He feels like a kid favorite. He feels like one that the kid.
I think he wins the movie. He's so good in terms of, like, he, my quote from this movie is, I really am starting to hate that kid. And I was like, oh, Bowman, he's such a shithead. But then he kind of redeems himself. And then he's got that great, he's kind of like Marty Supreme in some way, which is that he's like infinitely confident in himself, but also like just a kid.
Sure.
And there's the killer line that wins the movie every time is when he gets his like guns upon guns upon guns like thing. Yep. And says, do you want to be my girlfriend? And she's like, no. She says, okay, cool. And just walks out. And I was like, that slays.
Yeah.
In every screening I've watched it, I watched it by myself, and like that line is amazing. And then I've watched it with audiences, and it just kills.
Yeah.
I think that kid is fantastic. And I think when Horley kind of I'm going to butcher Worley and Horley for some reason right now. But when Seth Worley gets those 3 kids together, he writes and directs the hell out of this movie.
Yeah, and again, it's impressive because it's not. I go back to, it's a hybrid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels emotionally true and correct at how kids talk, even though that's not how kids talk, and it's so impressive when you can sort of have your cake and eat it too in those.
And like there's the Eider sequence in the house where which has a beautiful nod to Psycho in it. By the way, there's like an actual reference to Psycho in this movie. But that sequence in the hallway is like, again, it feels like I'm throwing shade at it, but like my issue with the Minecraft movie is the Minecraft movie does not register in any way beyond the fact that I just watched it, right? Like I don't in any way think about the Minecraft movie from a storytelling point of view, from a visual effects point of view, from any point of view, really. And this sequence in here with the Eiders, the creatures, the kids, all lands in a way that like far outweighs anything.
Yeah, I want to make it very clear. This is a better movie than the Minecraft movie.
And I'm saying that, and I'm referencing those two movies specifically.
No,
because
I know.
they feel like they're trying to hit the same audience.
No. Well, no. I actually disagree with that. That's kind of my point. Like, yes, they're both aimed at kids, of course, but I think what they're trying to do is very different. I think Sketch is trying to be a funny and heartfelt and clever and emotionally resonant in the moment film. I think they're actively trying to do it. I think that is at the core of the experience that the creators wanted to give. I don't think that the Minecraft movie is that. I think they wanted a quotable thing that could be sliced up to TikTok show all the IP that they understand, and cast funny people in silly roles to do the thing. And I think both of these movies are incredibly successful at what they set out to do. Again,
do you think one is more cynical than the other?
So interesting. This is the weird thing. You could go, I could go yes or no, because the Minecraft movie, I think, is incredibly sort of, it wears what it is on its sleeve. It's honest in its cynicism in a way. Like I'm not expecting more of it. Would it have been nice? Sure.
Right.
But like from the first 5 minutes, I'm like, I know the experience I'm getting here. Okay, I'm in.
Right.
And where
perhaps I'm going too hard on the Minecraft movie, but I guess maybe the sort of, I'm trying to frame it this way in terms of why I want people who listen to this podcast
to watch
this movie.
Absolutely.
You know, like that's why I'm trying to frame it that way.
It is a better movie. It is more emotionally resonant, and it does a lot of things better than the Minecraft movie does. My only point is the things that this movie does that it does better than the Minecraft movie, a lot of them I think the Minecraft movie isn't interested in doing.
Right.
Which again is a problem for movies that are not just made to sell you IP, right? Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah. And I am just excited by filmmakers, or you know, like again, there is, to me, there is nothing more that I'm asking of this movie. I think it delivers everything I've wanted from a movie like this in a long time. And again, I know Stranger Things is a big, like plays in that sort of like,
hey,
kids space, but like kids with the sort of adult themes in it sort of thing.
And hey, Shahir, if the internet's to be believed, at the time of this recording, in approximately 35 minutes, there's going to be a 9th episode of season 5.
Okay, I've not watched any of Stranger Things.
There's not going to be. There's a conspiracy going on the internet.
Right. But I think that also harkens to the things that I grew up loving, like The Goonies.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like movies like The Goonies, which are for kids, but there isn't, to me, the reason I love The Goonies, and Stand By Me is sort of a different thing because it's not a sort of comedy caper kind of thing like The Goonies is, but they're sincere and they have a heartfelt belief, like in my opinion, to why movies are important and why we tell stories like this and why we should share stories like this, and why I hope that like people who listen to this podcast and listen to the things that I talk about in terms of like why I want movies to be a certain way is more that they actually like matter.
Yeah,
and Sketch matters to me. Like to me, this is a movie that my kids love, that the adults that I've shown it to love as well, that I think is really sincere about what it wants to do. It does not ever tip over into cringe or anything. Like it's not overselling the, like the sort of tropish idea of the deceased mother. I think this just really, really works and works in a way that is not cynical and that is not throwaway, like some other things that we've seen this year, and I think that's a reason I kind of am excited by this. So we did talk about Angel distributors at the beginning of this film. Again, you can go online and read the Wikipedia page of Angel, and if you've listened to the podcast long enough, you know that I won't speak for Matt, but I know this is probably a similar case for you. But I'm not a religious person. The idea of a faith-based movie or anything like that kind of is not something that's going to send me running to the theater.
I love movies about faith. I'm not a fan of groups that only deal in movies about faith.
Yeah, it's not my bag, baby.
Yeah.
But there's only one thing in this movie.
It's a faith-based penis enlarger.
It's not my bag, baby. There's one sort of line or moment in this movie where I was kind of like, oh, I think this must have to do with that component of what the distributor perhaps wants out of this movie. I don't know what Seth Worley's background is or anything like that. But it doesn't play in the way that if you said a film, distributed by a faith-based, organization, it doesn't play in any way, shape, or form like that. It doesn't feel anything like that. What was the
line? I'm trying to... What was the moment?
For me, the moment is when he promises not to read her book, and she says, and the young boy says, "Give her your covenant," and he's like, "My covenant? What is that?" And I was like, and I genuinely, and that comes, the covenant things comes back 2 or 3 times in the movie to the point where I was like, I don't know you know, like this feels very specific to either this family or perhaps to the religious background of this film.
Maybe.
Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
I didn't read it into it. It's funny. It felt like it to me, and again, I'm not around kids as much as you are, of course. But like it felt to me like when a kid learns a new cool word and then like that's the fucking word for 2 weeks.
I'll tell you now, it's not 6-7. Covenant is not something that like
no. But like I'm not talking about like a cultural thing.
Yeah,
I know that even when I was growing up, when I learned a 6-point word, I'd try to use it in fucking sentences all the time to sound smart. And like I just think it's I thought it was a fun like, oh, these are kids that like this is the thing
that's the one thing that I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what this is. And perhaps this is part of that sort of faith-based idea that, you know, that this film comes from. Again, sort of perhaps controversially, the most financially successful film that Angel Distributors has got is Sound of Freedom, which is a film about like somebody who, you know, Jim Caviezel plays the main character who rescues children from pedophile rings or something along those lines. And it was, you know, very talked up in those in that particular circle, you know, those kind of circles, I guess. I don't know what circles they are.
When's Angel? What is Angel? What
Angel Distributors?
When's Angel Distributors going to tackle that Epstein file list? Let's see when that happens.
But at any rate, it doesn't. As a person who is not of, you know, like looking for faith-based movies or anything like that, there's nothing about this that made me go, oh, it's made for a very specific audience in mind. And I actually love that because I think perhaps it is meaningful in that community, in that circle, and people who are religious. But I, as a non-religious person, found a lot of meaning in this movie, as I would from any movie, and found it to be just, again, beautifully told, extremely sincere, very thoughtful in terms of like how to deal with trauma and grief and that sort of thing in sort of useful ways.
Yeah.
And also really fun.
Yeah.
Like incredibly fun to watch. Like every time. Yeah. You know, it hits that sweet spot of being like 1 hour 30, sorry. It like never, for me, I know you kind of thought that the third act felt perhaps, but like they were padding it out. I've watched it 3 times now and I've just found the interplay between the kids is so good that I never was like, you know.
It's a twofer for me. Like there's parts in the woods that move around at a weird clip that is from a pacing and structure editing point. The rest of the movie is butter smooth, and there's just a couple minor like what? Like there's a moment when like all of a sudden for no reason, and I can't remember which of the kids at this point, but like one of the 3 kids is just like alone all of a sudden. And they're like looking at the piles of stuff that the Eiders, you assume, brought into the woods, which again, you don't see the Eiders do it. You just sort of guess that they did it. And I'm like, where the fuck are the other kids? Like, it didn't make sense why they weren't there.
Where Bowman separates himself from the group because he decides that he's going to get the mother to chase him because the mother is drawn to kill him.
No, this is before they get to the pond.
Okay.
It's weird. And then there's a moment where they're like arguing in the woods or like having these discussions. And again, I want to make it very clear. This sequence I'm discussing, I liked it. It was fun. It felt cool, but it was like, why are the kids still talking here? It felt like there was a lot of movie
because it's so cool.
I mean, I don't know. I felt like it was like, all right, like I get what you're doing. It's fun. It felt like this was something. I don't know. Like I said it before, like, and I'm literally tinfoil hatting my way through this, but like, because of the limited budget, I was like, oh, what if like the scene where the Eiders are bringing the shit into the woods or whatever, they couldn't do it and they had to make their runtime. I don't know. I was positing it.
Look, I hear what you're saying. There's never I'm very honest about this thing here is that I watch this and go, there's no point where I see the limitations of what they could and couldn't do in this movie.
That's the only time for me.
But
so minor it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
if I'm going to be completely honest with it, like the third act is where the wheels start shaking. They never come off.
Yeah. I just watch it and go, man, I'm excited for what you do next.
Yeah,
like that. Like that's the thing I kind of walk out from because I go, you what you did with this particular movie and
Yeah.
this particular story was so like, you know, you're trying to weave together such a fine target here. And in my mind, this will be on my top 10 of the year, by the way. It hits such a narrow target and does it so well that I'm like, you know, again, that's what Rian Johnson did in that first movie. That's what Mike Flanagan did in that first movie as well. You know, like I'm in.
There you go.
I'm 100% in.
There you go.
yeah.
Well, this has been the only podcast about the film. Sure, you want to say it?
Skitch. Skitch.
When you are not dousing your notebook in a bunch of caffeinated beverages, where can folks find you?
You can find me trying to get my Red Bull to give my drawings wings on my website at suvanova.com. That's SUVANOVA. Matt, when you are scurrying away with all of your cat's possessions like a little creepy spider, where can people find you?
You can find me alerting you exactly where those possessions are, like Tattletale, who was my absolute favorite monster.
The Tattler?
The Tattler.
Yeah.
Was my favorite monster in this. Over at my website, extra history and extra credits over on the YouTube machines. By the time this comes out, I believe we will have released our Tyrants 1 series on Leopold II. If you want to learn about one of the most disgusting, depraved despots to ever rule a nation, that's a good place to start. And then over on credits, I believe by this point, we're going to be having something out on why video game difficulty is hard, but it does not have to be. There's so many games that have come out in even the last 3 or 4 years that have sort of bucked some trends that have been staples since the 90s. And it's really cool to see. So we talk about all that. Next week.
I don't know. We've got a bunch of movies. We have a document that perhaps we should share with people at some point. But, you know, there's Chan-wook Park's film, No Other Choice. There's Jafar Pahani's film, It Was Just an Accident. There's probably way more than those two. Those are just the first two that come to mind. But there's a lot of movies that we still have got to see. Unless, Matt, you just want to call it for the year at this point. Is that what you want to do?
Oh, you mean counting for the show? I mean, I'd love to, but we can't.
Why not? Why not? If you want to do it.
You would be so sad, and I don't want you to be sad.
It's just there's so many movies to see.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll get as many done. Again, I kind of like it. We sort of have a bit to like the Oscars, right? Like that's kind of a good around there cutoff point.
Typically, we generally end our year. Like I try to count the year for 52 films. Or 52 weeks at least from the last time that we did our top 10, which happens to sort of coincide with the Oscars every year. So, yeah, we're on the Oscars calendar, baby. It's the Oscars and then the Topam Awards.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you at home be the judge as to which one you care about the most.
Yeah.
Until then, be on the edge of your seat to see what we talk about next on the only podcast about movies.
When does that? Is that a new thing?
No, I just I'm just trying to sketch something out. Bye, everybody.
Sketch.